Welcome everyone to the Jimmy Crow Sr. Daytona 500, brought to you here on the IWM Broadcast Network. I am your host, Rick Souza, joined here in the booth by my co-host, Jeff Needy, and you are in for a wild afternoon of stock car racing.
Well, that is the truth. This 500-miler put on by Jimmy Crow to honor his late father. Jimmy Crow Sr. passed away in December of 2018. And these guys coming out here to honor his memory. And you're right, Rick, they are going to put on a show tonight.
Well, qualifying is just underway. We'll begin to see drivers begin to get out on the track and start their qualifying runs. They're just beginning to populate the field, but we have 60 drivers today, 60. That is an awfully full field.
Wow. Can you imagine what pit road is going to be like when these guys come in groups? If it's a green flag run, they'll still come in groups, and if it's a yellow flag, you're going to have 60 cars hitting it all at once.
Yeah, so we've got a number of drivers that if you've been watching our broadcast on Tuesday nights, there's a lot of names that we're familiar with, that you will be familiar with, but I've got a lot of new faces, a lot of experienced, long-time iRacing friends here of the Crow family that are here to celebrate the life and times of Jimmy Crow Sr. and to enjoy the fellowship of racing with just some absolutely fantastic experienced racers.
You know, I never really had the privilege of getting to know Jimmy Crow Sr. Didn't get involved in iRacing till he had already passed. But from everything I've heard from different guys that are racing today and some that aren't, he was quite the guy, quite the gentleman, just loved racing. And then his son, Jimmy Crow, has followed along in those footsteps and has put together a few leagues and a ton of races, has a lot of iRacing experience, and these guys love the super speedways.
Well, we've had a number of drivers are already out there trying to get in their qualifying lap. So this is Daytona. And so how that works with iRacing is really your fastest lap is always going to be your first lap.
Yeah, here they are. You see Rick Sebrin's out there right now. Looks like he's just completed his. There it is. He's in the fourth spot and working his way down, unfortunately. Kevin Freese just lost the provisional pole to Hunter Reynolds. 49.81, which is a really good lap for guys that are not running in the draft.
That's a fabulous car paint. If you haven't seen that before, that's Hunter Reynolds in a Reynolds wrap car. That's a great play and just a great paint scheme on that Ford Mustang. We're getting a chance. Kevin Freese is out there. Kevin's sitting in our second place finish. Anthony English is on track, finishing up. He came in with a 49.84.
Yep, you see the 44 car there just disappear. Now we're looking at the 14. He just finished his qualifying, headed for the pits. And we'll see in a little bit where he ended up on the row. Right now, I still show, there it is, Hunter Reynolds, still provisional pole. Sebastian Marin, you may hear us call him Seabass from time to time. He is, I mean, they're almost identical times. They are very, very close. Oh, wow. 1/100th of a second separating first and second. That's amazing. And then Kevin Freese in third. He's 7/100ths off the pole position. So very, very tight race in this qualifying period.
So we're going back through looking at who's what and where and how they're shaping up. So one of the interesting things that you will see is that there are 60 competitors out here. That's going to make pit road very interesting, with there being only 40 or so spots. So we'll bear with us as we call through pit stops. We expect there to be some cautions in this race. It'd be amazing if there weren't, but we've got 200 laps. Let's kind of talk about, go through where we are with the current race info. Let's kind of cover that real quick while we've got the time here, Jeff.
Okay, as you mentioned, Rick, 200 laps. And during those 200 laps, they've got 3 quick repairs where if they get into an accident, they can go to the pits and instantly have a brand new car. They can do that up to 3 times if they need it. Pit road speed, 55 miles an hour, unlimited tires. And then if we need it at the end of the race, if we end up under yellow when the 200 laps is complete, we have 2 green-white checkers that'll give us an opportunity to end the race under green.
All right, and that is the end of qualifying, which means we're going to go through a very, very busy and full grid. So as soon as we get some...
Oh, yeah, and Hunter Reynolds got bumped out.
Ray Rittenauer.
The first 4 positions are 49, 809, 810, 811, and 812. Unbelievable. That is so tight to have these guys there. You see Raymond Rittenauer in the 87 in T1.
I've had the pleasure of racing with Ray in a previous league. Great driver.
Good. That's obvious. He knows what he's doing there. Hunter Reynolds is in P2 in the 26. Sebastian Marin in the 23, and Gabe Butler in the 88 in that next row. Third row is Kevin Fries in the 25. Steve Korosek in the 027. Followed by Cody Nagels in the 6 truck car. And Mark Mann in the 04. I'm so used to saying trucks because we usually work with these guys in the truck races, but Everett Lane in position 9 in the 24, Jason Middleton in the 69, Matthew Baker in the 5, and in 12th position, Anthony English in the 44.
In 13th position, Kevin and Kenneth McCullough. We may butcher your names today. We'll do our best. In the 03 on the outside, Eric Laurie in the 071. On the inside, John Garrett in the 66. And in 16th, David Booth in the 77. In 17th, James Mayer in the 95. On the outside, Joe Del Vecchia in the 052. On the inside, Thomas Holder in the 19th slot in the 00. And Peter DeBorgia in the 20th slot in the 40th. In 21st, Jackson Carr in the 83, and on the outside, Richard Sanchez in the 510. And in 23rd, Dean Wilkinson in the 55, and to his outside, John Ward in 24th in the 92.
In 21st place, we've got Jason Carr. Oh, we just mentioned that one. Sorry. Looking at the wrong sheet. 23, position 23, Dean Wilkinson, one of our Canadian drivers in the 55. Next to him, John Ward in the 92. P25 is Jeff Merck in the 60 and Paul Witt in the 429. P27 has Rick Seabrans, one of our regular truck drivers, in the 4, and Jimmy Crow Jr., who is putting on this race in the 16 in P28. 29 is Sean Hill in the 777 car, and Zachary Workman in the 18. In 31st, we have Sean Stevens in the 27 and Dale Willoughby beside him in the 7 car.
We're trying to get this to advance past the 32.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, but we're definitely having some issues with the overlay. Our software is very busy. It's also active in the 24 hours of Daytona, and we... unfortunately may have some technical issues.
While you're working on that, I'll tell them a little bit more about the cars. Right now look like they're barely crawling along, but
well, you know what, John, I can grab the rest just off of our race software. So I've got Vince Guerrero, and so 32nd is Seth Groover, 33rd is Vince Guerrero, Christopher McCullough, Jimmy Reynolds, Bud Steele, David Hunt, Jackson Holbrook, David Sheets, David Overstreet, David Bond, Gary Jenkins, Rob Richards, Ron Morris, Adam Robertson, Patrick Gruber, Rob Connors, Brian Rainville. The pace car is now off. We're going to just skip the running order. We'll jump up front.
Here we go. Green flag racing. And that 87 of Raymond Rittenauer takes us right down through the tri-oval, heading into turn 1. This will be difficult for both Rick and I because so many of these drivers are new to us. They're definitely not new to iRacing, but we have never worked with them in a broadcast before. So getting to know the numbers and the cars, bear with us as we do our best to do that. But you see Raymond Rittenauer and Hunter Reynolds leading their way. Now we've got Sebastian Marin's already jumped out into the lead. Sebastian Marin is a driver that we're familiar with from the Truck Series and always running up front. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys, it looks like everybody's kind of minding their P's and Q's right now, trying to play nice, trying to be sensible, get through the first few laps before they get too aggressive.
Well, also, you got to remember this is a 500-mile event. So Raymond Rittenauer continues to show the lead with Sebastian Marin on the outside. You've got Hunter Reynolds on the backside pushing the 23 of Sebastian Marin. And you've got Kevin Freese behind Ray Rittenauer. The 23 of Sebastian Marin drops down in front of Ray, taking that opportunity to lead that lower line. That leaves
Sebastian Marin always does a great job at shifting lanes. He seems to have that knack to know just when to make the move.
So with a 60-car field, we'll do our best to drop back when we can. This is a track where you will see 2 and 3 wide at times. We've got a heck of a field today, folks. You've got drivers with just amazing iRacing cred, and their iRatings are extremely high. We expect to see some fabulous racing tonight.
I have been looking forward to this race for quite a while now, to see this many cars on the track at once. A normal NASCAR event like the Daytona 500, you would have 40 cars nowadays. Used to be 43. But here we are with 60 cars on the track, and it's just amazing to see this many cars running around here at the same time.
Well, this is a great tribute race. It also is a paid race. There are some big dollars for coming in and winning this event. So, I think if I'm not mistaken, Jeff, the winner of this is a $400 purse
that's
to
right.
take home.
400 for first, and I think 300 for second, and then it's paying all the way down to, I think it's 10th spot. So a big payout for an iRacing race. Caution is out on lap 4. Jeff Burke, I think,
first
is
caution.
involved.
Yep, we'll go back to that in just a second. We'll try to dissect that event.
Must have been a little more towards the back of the field. I didn't see anything towards the front side.
All right, let's try to get back and see where that yellow flag. Let's go back to Christopher McCullough. There's a second to get a bead on this, and this should take place in front.
Oh yeah,
Is
that the 60?
Let's drop back. You know what happens?
Looks like the 60 truck.
The 60 car may have dropped off the apron a bit, come back up, and unfortunately collects a number of drivers. We'll back this up a little bit, let it run in slow motion here, and then we can kind of. So we're seeing that the 60 dropped off on the apron. The Yeti car in front of him slowed up. You can see him out of the gas. Those little flashes at the tailpipe means the driver. There's contact there with the 4. We know that that car, unfortunately, collects the 60s involved. 77, the 15. So we had Chris McCullough, David Sheets, Rick Seabrins was in the 4, Jeff Merck, David Overstreet, Rob Connors, and also Rob Morris, I think, was also involved. So a number of drivers. David Watts was involved, Dan Harrington. Just a slew of drivers are going to make their way down onto pit road.
And we saw Kevin Freese, who was not involved in that, make his way down to pit road. Had a few cars. I'm going to call them trucks all night because I'm so used to it. But we had a few cars, these Xfinity cars, headed for the pits early, and now a lot of them coming in just to top off just to get that extra little edge of extra fuel. These cars can go about 40 laps on one tank of fuel, which is more than normal because this is a longer race, so they're allotted a little more fuel every time they fill up, so they can go further, and they still have that. It's a strategy move to just whenever they have the opportunity to fill up, because you never know when that next green flag run is coming, and that's a great way to get to the front, is just with a good fuel strategy.
Yeah, one of the things they'll have to work on, especially with 60 cars in the field, is there's not a lot of additional time allotted on iRacing to get formed back up and to get in race order. So, once those lights are off on top of that pace car, you've got to get up and go and get in your slot, in your position. And if there's been some lap cars or some EOLs handed out, which end up being moved to the end of the longest line, you've got to get that figured out pretty quick to not miss your opportunity to get back up front on the lead lap. So the lights are off. Yeah, the lights are off on the pace car, so that driver is getting his information in the car to get back and ready to go. Can ride
the yellow flag came out on lap 4, and they're going to go back to green, it looks like, on lap 8. So about 4 laps to get things situated, get pit stops completed, get back out and lined up. Good shot there with Gabe Butler, the 88 car.
So,
Gabe also drives the 88 truck in our Tuesday Night Truck Series, and is the reigning champion from last season.
What you may notice is you can see his RPMs drop out. He is actually shutting off his car in between when he gets up to speed and up close, and saving fuel and popping it back into gear to restart the vehicle.
That's a great shot showing that.
You'll see his RPMs drop down to 0 and then hop back up as he restarts his car. And you'll probably see that often today, because fuel strategy, especially if it stays green for a long period of time, is critical.
Yep, coming into turns 3 and 4 now, it will. They'll probably just keep that car running. You see one car down there on the apron, just trying to save a little bit of fuel. We get a few ounces every time they do that, and it adds up.
So Hunter Reynolds is our control car when the race there's a Geico restart zone. It's on Hunter. And here we are. We are back to green flag.
Nice clean start.
Looks like there's some 3-wide action a little further on back in the pack, as these guys are taking an opportunity to take advantage of a position. But Hunter Reynolds continues to lead in that 26 Reynolds wrap car. He's got the 88, the Guinness machine of Gabe Butler behind him. The 23 of Sebastian Marin on the outside, with Ray Rittenauer behind him in the 87, giving him a nudge. Behind him, you've got the 6 of Cody Nagels, I believe. And Sebastian Marin is dropped in behind Gabe Butler. He's got the 69 of Jason Middleton behind him. That's your top 5.
Yeah, Hunter Reynolds has a great pusher in Gabe Butler. And Gabe moves to the upper side just as I say that. That's always the way.
You'll hear it. Yes, you'll hear it all day today, folks. We can't keep up with the way these guys exploit the opportunity to get to a faster line, a line where they can gain speed or position.
Yeah, Gabe Butler snuck up in front of Sebastian Marin, who he has a ton of experience racing with, and used that momentum to propel him up to first position. got some drivers in this race that are very, very experienced at superspeedway racing. They race several times a week on superspeedways, and then you have some drivers that are just here to celebrate the life of Jimmy Crowe Sr. They don't have a lot of superspeedway experience, but they wanted to be a part, and it's good to see guys of all skill levels out here and really racing pretty cleanly. We've seen one yellow flag so far, which was a little bit of error. When you get down onto that apron, like happened on that last caution period, that can upset the car. It's a different banking level. It's more flat than what the racetrack is, and it has a tendency to throw your car sideways. It can be very disconcerting.
All right, we are too wide here. We do have that car that's back there that keeps flirting with the 3 wide. I could be mistaken. I'm trying to get a better feel on which number that is as we kind of circle our way back through the field here. I think that's the 92 of John Ward. No, it's the 02. We should know that number. That's the 02 of Seth Groover in his Yoshi car. We've seen him many times before, and that third line is where he likes to play.
He does. He and his brother both. I don't think his brother's running in this race, but they have very similar painted cars.
Oh yeah, Patrick's here. Patrick's currently right now in 27th spot. He's in the 01. I think he's probably going to be in the matching car.
Oh, there he is. Let's see what he's running.
He is running the Mario car.
Yep. A lot of times they'll run the Mario, Luigi themes. So cool to watch these guys race together. If they can get together, they'll be up there on that third row.
And we are 3 wide.
Yep.
We are 3 wide here at Daytona.
Yep, Patrick and Groover leading that third line. And if those brothers can get together, they will put on a show.
All right, we are at lap 13 of a scheduled 200. Except for an earlier incident that brought out our first caution of the day. A fairly clean race. Gabe Butler is showing us the way around. We've got Sebastian Marin on the outside. The 26 of Hunter Reynolds behind Gabe Butler. On the outside, you've got Ray Rittenauer pushing the 23 of Sebastian Marin.
With this longer race, I think normally at Daytona we run a 77-lap race, and tonight, because it's a 500-mile special, they're running 200 laps, and they've got a bigger fuel load, so they can go much further, almost twice the distance that they can on a normal Daytona race. So 40 laps, which would put us probably lap 45 or 46 if we run green the whole way, which will be more difficult during this race than it would be normally. Right now we've got everybody on the lead lap with the exception of Daniel Harrington in the 82 car. He's 1 lap down.
There's a little bit of contact there with those guys running that third line. There was a little contact with the outside retaining wall, but they kept it together and they are intact. The field is broken down a little bit. It's pretty much one large pack, but there are some folks about a second or so back. I think that's with the group of David Vaughn, Vincent Guerrero, Chris McCullough. They're a little bit farther back.
Yeah, those guys that are strung out there on that inside line are going to want to tighten up fast, because if you lose the draft here, you're sunk. You lose the draft and you are automatically going a lap down.
We are 3 wide here at Daytona. Typically you see this at Talladega, but Daytona takes an extra level of skill and precision. This is not a track that's easy to run at these speeds 3 wide. Just to give you an idea about what that looks like, let's see if we can go in car.
That is the Gruber brothers leading the way in that third line, like we talked about earlier, Rick.
It sure is.
You've got them running. They love that third lane.
You are on board with Kevin Freese, and just to throw a little bit more information, he is listed at 195 miles an hour.
Can you imagine driving 195 with cars 6 inches on either side of you? That happens occasionally there, and that's a tight spot to be in. You've got to have great car control, very good reflexes.
As you just saw, Kevin dropped out of that center line and went back up a little bit. He's taking a different approach. Probably go
ahead, Rick.
Oh, I was just saying that's probably the wiser of the two decisions.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a strategy move right there. He didn't all of a sudden get slow. It just got hairy up there, and a lot of times, especially early in the race, guys will say, hey, I don't want to get this risky right now. I'm just going to drop back, run along, ride along, and work my way to the front later on.
So you see the 60 car. The 60 car is trying to get a name.
Jeff Merck.
Jeff Merck's dropped out. That was a great bit of sportsmanship there. He saw the leaders coming up behind him, 2 and 3 wide. Drop down off the racing surface, let them go by. He can always try to get that lap back at a caution and get the wave around.
Yep. That'll put us 2 cars a lap down now, I think.
Yep, Jeff Merck and Dan Harrington.
That's right. So right now, Jeff Merck is in the lucky dog seat, meaning for those of you that don't watch iRacing all the time, if there is a caution that comes out right now, Jeff Merck will get his lap back and be at the tail end of the field on the lead lap. And I have a feeling, Rick, that we'll see another caution.
We just may. Well, we are at about to cross the stripe at lap 20. We're 10% through this race. We've seen some amazing racing so far, and as we're watching, Gabe Butler continues to show us the way. Hunter Reynolds on the outside. 23 of Sebastian Marin is behind Hunter Reynolds. We got Steve Korosak on the 027 up front. And we can kind of run through our top 10.
All right, you've got it'll change. We'll try to keep up with it. Gabe Butler in the 88 running first. Korosak in the 27 truck, followed by Reynolds in the 26, Middleton in the 69. Just swap places with Sebastian Marin in the 23, Cody Nagels in the 6, Rittenauer in the 87, and then you've got, I think it's Seth Gruber, just traded places with Rittenauer. Then in 9th and 10th, you've got the 44 of English and the 24 of Lane.
We are 3 wide up front here at the Jimmy Crow Senior Daytona 500. Again, I want to thank you for joining us here today, and appreciate if you would like and follow whatever stream you're watching us on to stay up to date on other happenings here on the IWM Broadcast Network. We bring you these special events, but also we have a truck race series with the Superspeedway Kings each and every Tuesday night, and a Cup League sponsored by Tech for Troops on every Wednesday night. So we appreciate you liking and following and staying up to date on the IWM Broadcast Network.
Well, I think this race has started a lot more conservative than I had imagined. I thought we'd see at least a couple. Careful.
That is the broadcast.
That's right. Every time I say that, it backfires, doesn't it? We don't want to do that. We'll change the subject and talk about some of these guys that are running up front. We see some of the guys from the regular truck series like Gabe Butler, Sebastian Marin,
But I think a lot of these, I think a lot of these guys are also part of the other leagues that are part of the Super Speedway Kings. They run other series as well, and also friends of Jimmy Crowe Sr. And you see some of the other leagues and racing teams that are here. We saw some of their banners on their cars. Just those are here to celebrate the life and times and iRacing friendships and fellowships that's been there with over the years that they had with Jimmy Crowe Sr.
Yeah, Patrick Groover in that caution, lap 23.
It's like Matt Mann may have been involved. We'll go back and try to see what we can bring up with. Yep, there's the 04 of Mark Mann. I'm sorry. Let's just try to see just what happened to Mark. So I could be mistaken, but it looks like Mark may have been the victim of circumstance. There was a lot of guys who are out of the throttle, who gone up high. That's the 54 of David Watts in front of him, who's backed out, and he caught the 04, kind of caught, and same thing with the 10, tagging the tail of the 04. Looks like those guys were getting out of the throttle to escape an incident, but unfortunately, at 185 miles an hour, it's fractions of an instant.
Yeah, you can imagine when you're traveling 185 miles an hour and the person in front of you that you're about 4 or 5 feet behind lets off on the gas, you can't react fast enough to keep from plowing into them. And then you see there where the 04, or is that 84, comes down.
04.
And 04 comes down, and that beautiful multicolored car there, the 10, just didn't realize he was coming down, and it was too late to get out of the throttle very much. And it was it's also, you cannot swerve. Sometimes people at home will be watching a race and they'll say, well, why didn't he just swerve around him? Well, you can't. You swerve at 185 miles an hour and you're going to lose the car. It's going to spin on you.
So what we are seeing is a lot of guys who are coming onto pit road and coming off pit road. There's a little bit of incident on pit road. We kind of would kind of expected this. That's the 78.
Yeah. 14's going to pit backwards, it looks like.
Yep, number of guys who have spun entering into their stalls. The 14 is a victim of that, as well as the 78.
Yeah, I didn't see what caused the spin. Was it just the congestion?
I think
it's seeing where their pit is and trying to get to it at the last minute.
I believe so. Yeah. 14 is Vincent Guerrero. All right, second caution of the day, lap 25. A lot of guys just completed their very, very harrowing event on pit road.
Yeah, go back to that congestion we talked about. Just heard a little bit of chat on the radio about some I couldn't tell which driver, but he was apologizing for getting into the back of someone because he saw them going for their pit and he lifted, and that caused the guy behind him to tap him the rear bumper, and it pushed him into him, and that was the end of it. You got 2 or 3 cars spinning at that point.
Well, it's as we expected, Jeff. Pit road was going to be a wild, wild event.
Yep.
And that's under caution. We have yet to experience pit road under green flag conditions.
I've never experienced this before. Maybe you know, in iRacing, when you go into a pit and you're doubling up, if you're the second car coming into that pit stall that's already occupied, do you see that car, or are you going in and you just see an empty pit for you?
I believe you see that car.
Okay.
But your banner,
That's got to be.
Yeah, probably a little disconcerting. But
yeah,
lights are off on top of the pace car. We're about to go back to green flag racing. We may try at some point to ride in with one of those drivers. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. Somebody just had their screen break.
Uh-oh.
That's not going to be good. Oh, saw a blue car cut down off the field, off the track. That must be him.
Sebastian Marin is our control car. Is in the Geico restart zone, and we are back underway. No, we are still under caution.
Yeah, I think they put it back out again because of that car that went off the went off the track.
So we have extended this green flag. I'm sorry, extended this caution period another lap or two. Pace car is working its way around. May have been Donald Stewart, I'm not sure. Go back and try to follow up. We did show that he was off the racing service. There was an incident back there.
Yeah, 78. Whoop, and 3 cars involved in that.
Interesting. So at the tail end of the event, as they were coming back to the restart, there was an incident back in the pack. So the administrators decided to let this race restart. Of course, a number of guys were involved in that. Let's try to see if we can go back and get a better field. We did get some word that it was the 78.
Yep.
And that is Donald Stewart, who lost his screen. That, you got to remember, folks, this is a computer simulation. So what you don't realize is a lot of these guys are just there at home in the comfort of their living room, bedroom, or wherever. They are out there racing along. So let's see what happened to the 78.
Yeah, you'll see right when he loses the screen right there, and all of a sudden down, makes contact, comes back up, goes down again. He's trying to get off the track and get out of people's way, but he has no idea where he is.
Yep, that's
Poor
unfortunate.
guy.
Yep.
That is a helpless feeling. Fortunately, he was under yellow flag conditions and not green.
All right, we are back underway here at the Jimmy Crow Senior Daytona 500, lap 28. Sebastian Marin is in control, and he is your leader. As we are examining that incident, we went back to green flag racing. Cody Nagel's on the outside. He's got the 0-2 of Seth Gruber pushing him. The 44 is also in that outside line. That's Anthony English. And on the inside, you've got Sebastian Marin, Hunter Reynolds, and Gabe Butler. A little bit farther back, you've got the 24 of Everett Lane, and the 44 is Anthony English on the outside. You've got Ray Ridenour up there, Christopher McCullough, Paul Witt. That's your top 10. A huge run that outside lane had. That was a great push. Oh, looks like some blinking. That car is the 44. So you hear us say that that's the 44 of Anthony English on the outside. What that reference to blinking is he's got some type of connection issue, and unfortunately that manifests itself here in a race by that car blinking in and out, and you'll see that. Hopefully that connection
very
stabilizes.
Disconcerting for the driver behind him, or multiple drivers behind him, because all of a sudden that car disappears, and when he reappears, all of a sudden he might be reappearing in a space that's already occupied by another driver, and that causes the collision. And it's nobody's fault. It's just one of the drawbacks of virtual racing.
Oh, looks like that was the 78 that dropped down on the lower. He got out of the onto the apron and out of the racing surface.
He was the last car on the lead lap, and next time around he'll be the first car on. He'll have the lucky dog.
I think right now Dan Harrington is showing me as the lucky dog candidate if we were to go back to yellow right now.
Yeah, he did. It's interesting. Don Stewart dropped behind him. I'm not sure why. Good to see back there with them now, the last car on the lead lap, David Watts in the 54 car. It's good to see David out there. He runs with the iRacing Warriors series that we have on Monday nights and Wednesday nights. And it's good to see him running the super speedway here tonight.
That's right. So here we are. This is lap 33. Sebastian Marin is battling Cody Nagels. That's the lower line versus the upper line.
One car out there in that third, is that one of the groupers out there in that third lane all by himself?
I'm not sure. Someone keeps, it looks like it's, it looks like it is one of the groovers. I think you are correct, Jeff. That's the 01.
Yeah, Patrick Gruber. That's interesting to run. He must be trying to get to the a little further back in the field because he has no hopes of keeping up with anybody out there by himself. So I would say that's a strategic decision. He may pop in behind that Valvoline car or the car that's right behind that. Can't get the number from here.
Some great shots from our camera team.
Our virtual camera operators doing a great job as they do every week.
So that car on that outside line, that's the 54 of David Watts. He's taking that high line as the field goes through and passes him. Oh, little contact with the outside retaining wall.
Boy, that is so easy to do here at Daytona. These cars move around a lot in the air, especially when you're back in the pack a little ways. And you could see it when we were in car camera before, but sometimes you lose your reference as to where you're going in the turn. And if you enter that turn just a few feet past where you think you're going to enter, then it's real easy to get up and brush the outside wall.
All right, most of these guys all pitted on lap 24. There are 11 laps, soon to be 12 laps on this run.
We've got about 30 laps to go before we see green flag pit stops, if we see a green flag pit stop. These guys are doing their best to try to make this a caution-free race, but boy, with 60 cars on the track, it is almost impossible.
Well, especially when you have an incident where it's basically a technical issue like we just saw in that last caution.
Yep. Fortunately, both cautions that we've had so far have occurred near the back of the field. You can imagine if that technical issue occurs at the front of the pack, all of a sudden you wipe out most of the entire field.
So we thank you for tuning in. The The NASCAR Daytona 500, I believe, is only 20. I could be wrong. Is it 27 days away?
I was going to say 27 or 28. I forget. But really looking forward to that one.
Well, in the meantime, we've got this, which is, at this point, with 60 cars, pretty darn exciting.
That's the boy I'll say.
We thank you for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network, and happy to have you along for this Jimmy Crowe Sr. Memorial event. So, here we are. Sebastian Marin, Cody Nagels, Hunter Reynolds, Seth Groover, Gray Butler, Anthony English, Everett Lane, Christopher McCulloch, Jason Milton, Paul Witt are your top 10. Lots of slicing and dicing as these guys are moving around between different lanes. But it's strategic. It's moving up or moving down with just the slimmest margins for error.
You've seen these guys do very strategic moves of, if they don't like the way something looks, they'll get out of line, either down to the apron or up next to the wall, and they'll just drop back, get to what they feel is a safer spot on the track, and ride around there for a while until they feel like it's a good opportune time for them to be able to make their way back up to the front. It's not always the same for everybody. Some guys just have a feel of what they want that pack to feel like, and if it's not there and it's still early in the race like it is right now, they will drop to that and let everybody else take the risk up front. Although we saw today both of our yellow flags occurred near the back of the field, so it's not foolproof, but it is safer back there.
Well, if the big one's going to occur, it's going to occur. We'll just have to figure out just what happens and when. We'll do our best to break it down for you and tell you what happened and dissect the event. But more importantly, I think we've got in the field is just some fabulous racing with these drivers. Sebastian Marin continues to show us the way. That outside line is solid. Beginning to try and form up that third lane around. You see the 0-1 of Patrick Groover continue to pull his nose out. And basically, is it the time to go? Is it the time to stay? He knows he's got some help up there, but right now, Seth Groover has his hands full. He's got Cody Nagels right there in front of him, and he's pushing him around this track.
Yep, I think Patrick would like to get back up there with his brother, and those guys run so well nose to tail that they seem to really enjoy doing it and do a great job doing it as well. So if they can get nose to tail, they will. But at this point, Seth's not going to back up. He's got prime real estate right now, so he's going to stay up front and continue to compete.
So as you're watching here, this is the B car. This is the Xfinity car, and if you watched any regular NASCAR races last year, in my opinion, that was one of the most fun cars to watch on the track. The level of competition was just fabulous, and to race this car today it was a great choice by the league administrators for today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fun car to drive. It's not the easiest car to drive, but it is very fun. They race well nose to tail, and you can tell by how these guys are doing it today that they enjoy it as well.
Well, it's kind of like it brings back almost that earlier feel prior to the next-gen car being released. It's that classic NASCAR vehicle.
That outside lane staying pretty well organized for quite a ways back before it finally drops off. And the guys towards the end of the lead lap are mainly in the inside lane, shorter way around the track. Saves a tiny bit of fuel, but it's also a very comfortable place to drive.
So I think we're still in a pretty good pack. Let's kind of bring up the track map and just see how we're doing here. Yeah, except for a few cars, the 54 the 76 and the 171. We are still in our large group. That 171 is Robert Rock. He's there by himself. The 54 is David Watts. And that 76 belongs to Ron Morris Jr. He will be the next car that the main pack will be running up on. The 76 and the 54, that will be in their sights soon enough. We can go along with
some of these guys that are running back there, like the 54 David Watts, he's 3 laps down now. And we've got Jimmy Crow, who put this race together for his late father to pay tribute to him, is running 16 laps down. But Jimmy is doing double duty along with, I know, Kevin Freeze, and I'm not sure anybody else in race control, to where they are helping people get rid of black flags, give end of the line, EOLs, things like that. So they've got their hands full. It's very tough at a track like this to run race control and drive in the race at the same time. I admire these guys being able to do that.
So you're on board with the 23 of Sebastian Marin as they pass the 54 of David Watts. They're about to come up, I think, on the 76 right now, but hoping that 76 drops off carefully off the racing surface. Oh!
There it is, 45. Somebody behind Sebastian tagged him.
Well, you know, that is the hazard that you do face when you wind up passing lap traffic.
Oh, yeah. Lap car up near the top in the third lane.
Was it the 76?
I'm not sure. I thought I saw it. Oh, there it is. I couldn't tell which one it was, but right now there's a conversation on the radio about how to get down to the apron. That car waited too long and was going too fast to get down to the apron.
There are four. Gotcha. They are 4 wide. Let's try to let's try to back this up a little bit here and follow along here. So the 54 gets run up by the 69. 54 is trying to stay on the outside. They are 3 wide.
Yep, that's David Watts in the 54. Here comes Seth Grover up behind him. They're both in the wall. Now Seth's trying to get down and get brake to, boy, he does a great job missing him there. You can see that 54 car almost stuck to the wall. And that's what happens when you get into the wall. It's very difficult to get back off.
Yeah, the 95 also wound up in the wall and is spinning. Unfortunately, that's going to collect a number of vehicles. This is mid-pack, folks. Mid-pack here.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Number of drivers are involved.
Oh, right there. Hit him right in the front corner of the 95.
So we talked briefly about a big one, and this is certainly qualifies for that. Number of drivers were involved.
Yeah, I think David Watts was 3 laps down, and I could tell looking at him during that replay, he had a little bit of damage on that car. So he was not going to be able to keep up with the pack, and that was the reason he was going 2 laps down there. And that's, I'll tell you, that's one of the trickiest things to do when you're off the pace and you know that that pack is coming up on you. Where do you go? And you know, it's different at every track. Some guys say, you know, if you're slow, stay high on some tracks, but here at Daytona, the apron is the safest place on the inside to stay if you're slow and not able to keep pace. So it's very difficult sometimes for drivers to know where to go. And then that little bit of indecision sometimes may cause you to make your decision a little later than you should have. That's what we saw towards the front of the field.
Well, this is lap 47. We'll go back to green flag around, I'm guessing the lights will go off on that pace car now.
One more, maybe?
One more next time around. So you still got a number of guys coming off of pit road. This is the challenge that they face. They're going to have to work their way all the way back around to get formed back up. With this size field, that makes it challenging. So our third caution of the day. Thank you so much for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network. We appreciate you watching along with us, the Jimmy Crowe Senior Daytona 500, brought to you live here. I'm Rick Souza, and I'm joined here with my co-host, Jeff Nini. We typically call these races in the truck series for this league, and we're honored to be brought on to be your broadcast network for this race here today. So we are about to go back to green flag racing as these competitors try to get their cars back up into formation. You may see a car drop off like the 23 of Sebastian Marin right there. That is a fuel-saving and tire-saving strategy. Hunter Reynolds is your control car. Entering the Geico restart zone, and off we go. The green flag is back out.
Cody Nagels gets a good jump on that restart, jumping up to be right alongside the 26 at Reynolds.
It's like Hunter Reynolds got a little bit of a slow start. I mean, he was the control car. You saw the 23 of Sebastian Marin right behind him, pushing him along.
Interesting conversations on the radio. You hear drivers asking, who's the driver of number such and such? And they want to know who they're racing by. And sometimes you have a little relative monitor that tells you maybe the 3 cars in front of you and the 3 behind you. But somebody could be 4 or 5 spots up, but you know their restart is going to affect how you restart. There was a comment on there about how someone is always slow on the restarts. And so drivers have to pay attention to that, because if they have somebody slow in their lane, they might be 3 or 4 cars back, and that's the worst place to be, because if they're slow on the restart, you can't see them. And the cars in front of you see them first, well, then they hit the brakes, and all of a sudden you're bumping into each other, nose to tail, and it makes it difficult. So guys are thinking of a lot of things all at the same time.
It's like an accordion effect or a slinky effect. You certainly are, unfortunately, at the a victim of circumstance if something were to happen.
Here we are, 3 wide again. Got 3 cars in that top lane, maybe 4. Wrecking somewhere.
Oh.
Lap 51.
It's like Don Stewart, possibly the 78 car again involved. A lot of cars involved. Gabe Butler, Kevin Freese, James Mayer, Ron Morris, Rick Seabrans.
Boy, those guys are running up near the front, too.
All right, let's try to get a feel for just what happened here. Let's go back and get a restart here.
Oh, no, Gabe Butler was towards the back of the field, or maybe just is now. Let's see. Donald Stewart in the 78 was the first car a lap down, but if he's involved in this, he won't be eligible. Sounds like Gabe Butler No,
So I
that's
saw
not
the
him
77 of Gabe Booth. Let's try to back that up a little bit and see if we can get to the.
That's the Gabe that was talking.
Let's try to get this from a. Let's walk this through, see what we see. So right now we're focusing on that 77 car. There's a number of cars 2 and 3 wide ahead of him. Looks like he comes.
Yeah, wow.
He came right down into the 53. That 53 car belongs to Jeff. Any?
I'm looking for it. I don't see a 53.
That's Dave Hunt. 53 is Dave Hunt. So there's contact. That sends the 77 up into the wall. So he basically pinballed off. And unfortunately, that collects the 10.
Oh.
The 9 gets involved. Definitely the 071 gets collected. '66, the 06.
66 piles in. Now the 48's going to be in it.
Robert
too.
Richards there. Tags. Major damage on that 77. The 78, Don Stewart, drops down off the racing surface. The 77.7 is involved. The 28. 54 of David Watts threads his way, but then goes through the 10.
Wow.
Jeez. A lot of damage. So a lot of guys involved.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. You don't see a car drive through another car like that very often.
So we are at our 4th caution of the night. We are just 1/4 of the way through the Jimmy Crowe Senior Daytona 500. A lot of action today on the track. Now, what you may have heard, as we talked about, is there are some fast repairs or quick repairs. Those drivers who were involved in an incident have the opportunity to go back to the pits and, in effect, get a brand new car. Each driver has 3 opportunities to repair their vehicle and get back out on the track.
I thought we'd see people dive to pit road, but that front group anyway is staying out there.
Yeah, we do have a number of drivers who actually did go on pit road, but they're more. It looks like it was probably 25th and back. But okay. You're correct. The lead, pretty much the top 22, did not pit.
Saw somebody on pit road that just disappeared. Let's see. Yeah, Dale Willoughby. He was 30 laps down, and he's disconnected now.
Yep, we got a number of drivers who are on pit road. Brian Rainville, John Stevens, James Mayer, Rick Seabrans, Gabe Butler, Robert Rock, Todd Siebels. Those guys are on pit road.
Daniel Harrington is now the first car lap down. He's in the 82 machine. Close behind him is Bud Steele in the 10 that you saw involved in that accident.
All right, Hunter Reynolds is our control car. Hunter's got the 6 of Cody Nagels behind him. To his outside, you've got the 23 of Sebastian Marin, and he has the 429. That's Paul Witt to his outside. Ray Ridnour is right there. He's the 3rd car back on the outside line. He's got the 92 of John Ward behind him. On the inside, behind Cody Nagels. Get a better shot from our camera. That's the 44 of Anthony English, and the 40, I think that's the 40.
87?
Pete DeGeorge. That's the.
Oh, there it is.
Yep. All right, pace car is off. Hunter Reynolds leads the pack down to the Geico restart zone. And we are back underway here at Daytona.
This is the Jimmy Crowe Senior Memorial Race. His son, Jimmy Crowe, if you're just joining us, puts this race on every year, or puts some race on every year. Today it's a Daytona 500 miler. but puts it on in remembrance and memory of his father who passed away in 2018, Jimmy Crow Sr. Avid racer, just loved racing. Real cars, simulation cars. He was a racer at heart. And from what these gentlemen tell me, quite the guy. So one of those guys that you would want to get to know.
Yep, Jim was active in a number of racing leagues, particularly the Old Farts Racing League. And if you go back and listen to stories these guys tell, Jimmy Crow Sr. would be there whether it was to race or he would join in the race and not even drive. He would just be there to talk, enjoy the fellowship and the communication with these guys, and built some real solid friendships over his years of being affiliated with iRacing and the sim racing community. So these guys are here today to celebrate his life and his memory and have a great race.
That's one of the beautiful things about iRacing is you can, got a car in that third lane up against the wall. One of the beautiful things I was saying about iRacing is your career can last a lot longer. You're not subject to some of the physicality and endurance that it takes to run in a real NASCAR world. But you can be very, very successful in iRacing at an older age. And it's good to see this group out here tonight. We've got young and old combined.
So a little bit of contact as the outside lane was forming up and some movement. A bit farther back, I think it was the 02 of Seth Groover. There is a car on the outside. The 01 of Patrick Groover is on the inside.
Yep, got that 02 of Seth Groover, his brother, out in that third lane right now. He's the second car in that third lane. And the Groover brothers love that outside lane, and they know how to use it. They know how to make it work.
Well, hopefully the friends that got around them were able to exercise it with their same level of expertise, because that third lane is beginning to form up solidly, and there is zero room for error.
Boy, that's the truth. You've got a car on the inside of you, sometimes inches away, and then you've got that, they call it a softball, but it's still very solid. And it's looming on the outside of your car, and you've got to be so careful, especially during the turns when those cars tend to wander. And coming out of it, you saw the 01 there make a big juke, got up close to the wall and then ducked down. That's Patrick Groover running in second lane now.
Yellow flag is out.
Here we go, 59 lap.
Big wreck towards the back of the pack. Robert Richards involved. David Booth, Sean Stevens, Rob Connors.
I can't see if that 48 has much damage or not. Oop. Yeah, that green and yellow car, I can't see the number, but he comes to, boy, he just takes himself and two others out right away.
It's like the 53 as well, comes down on top of the 48, taking all three out. 53 goes to right. That's the 071. I'm not sure. That's Eric Laurie. Not sure he realized that car was there. Unfortunately, that collects all three, and then some cars in the back, the 000, the 90. Oh, and here comes the rest of the field.
Yeah, you saw that one car in the outside lane take flight there. Got into the wall and hit by somebody else, and then all of a sudden he was upside down, about 6 feet off the ground.
All right, a lot of damaged race cars after that incident.
Yeah, Eric Laurie in the 071 takes credit for that one. apologizing to the other drivers on the track. See Cody Nagel's leading the way down pit road.
You'll see a number of drivers. Pretty much the entire field is coming in now. This should be interesting.
Yeah, another one of those situations.
Right there, you can see it. So you got Ray Rittenauer right there. That's what we expected to happen.
Yeah, and those of you new to iRacing, in that gray area on pit road, which is where the pit boxes are, you can see cars are able to drive through one another right there. iRacing was smart enough to understand that congestion of pit road, very, very difficult to get in and out of there without contact, and so they made it possible for the vehicles to not make contact and rather drive through each other in the pit box area. Out on pit road, it's a little different story, but in the pit box area, they can drive through one another and not cause any problems, not get any incident points for that.
All right, we were watching Sean Hill, an issue, I guess, with trying to get off pit road. But all right, let's recap a bit. This is lap 61. We'll probably be back to green around lap 63. Yeah, 63. Yep. It's like Everett Lane, I think, is going to be our control car. He'll be scored right now in that first position. Thomas Holder maybe on the outside. That's the 00. And we'll get you a better order and where people stack up as soon as the field, as soon as the field begins to form back up.
It looks like right now, if we could get a green flag run in, it would be right about the halfway point of this race, right around lap 100, 101, right in there. It's looking less and less likely. We're 60, a little over a quarter of the way through the race, and we've had 5 yellow flags so far. They've been about 4 laps each in length, so that's 20 out of our 62 laps have been under yellow flag conditions.
It also looks like the lights have come on. Is that like this race will continue as sunsets is there, and then we will be under the lights here at Daytona.
Good deal. It's a beautiful track at night.
So the lights are off on the pace car. The 24 of Everett Lane is our control car. He's got the 28 behind him. That's Adam Robertson. These are new names to us. Forgive us if we butcher them. Thomas Holder's on the outside in the 00. He's got the 66 of John Garrett behind him. Sebastian
we
Marin
had a yellow flag. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
I was just going to say we had a yellow flag about 8 laps prior to this one, and some of these guys pitted then, so they didn't pit now in order to gain track position.
Here we go, back under green here at Daytona. A great restart.
Must have been a lot of end of the longest line or EOL penalties, because that inside lane at the start was much, much longer than the outside lane. Guys already changing lanes for position to try to get a run. It's a great shot there, that 24 car leading the pack.
All right, with that shot, you can see some guys making some moves as they come around to take the
we saw that 060 car of Brian Rainville down on the apron. He was on the radio letting guys know he was coming up and was hoping that somebody would give him a little bit of room to get back up there. Brian, incidentally, in the last 500 miler that we broadcast, was kind of like our on-track commentator through messenger. He would send us Facebook messages during the race, letting us know what was going on the track.
He is still doing that right now. So, all right.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, for listening while you're driving. We're glad we can help you out. All right, so the 00 Thomas Holder is leading that outside line. 24 Everett Lane continues to show us the way. He's got the outside line, has a 66 of John Garrett behind him, and Hunter Reynolds is back there in that third slot. The 9 of Charles Johnson is on that low line. He's got the 28 in front of him of Adam Robertson, and in front of him, again, the 24 of Everett Lane. Behind Mr. Johnson, you've got the 23 of Sebastian Marin, and on his outside, the 6 of Cody Nagels.
These guys are doing an outstanding job getting up there. You see that 9 car of Charles Johnson's in there. Jackson Holbrook in the 15. We've got Charles. They change positions so fast. It's hard to keep track sometimes. Looks like 10th position right now is Dean Wilkinson, who runs in the Tuesday truck race.
Looks like the 01 of Patrick Groover is now flirting with. He is in the 11th spot, trying to crack the top 10.
Yeah, he and Seth seem to trade positions on who's at the front and who's not. They can't seem to get together as much as they normally would. Seth's back, about 24th position right now. I imagine those guys are still working to try to find one another, and when they will, they'll be a force.
Well, with the way that this, being in 24th positions back, he probably can see his brother's car. They're all bunched up together here. So behind the 01 of Patrick Groover, you've got Dean Wilkinson, Vicente Guerrero, Charles Johnson, Zachary Workman, the 19. The 18 is back there.
We saw the 10 car down there on the apron. That is, let me get that again. I know who it is. It's Bud Steele. He's 2 laps down, was courteous enough to get down there on the apron as the pack was gaining on him. Daniel Harrington still in the 82 is our first car 1 lap down, the car that's eligible for the Lucky Dog.
We are looking back through the rest of the field. Going to give you an idea of what's happening, not just up at the front, but through the middle of the pack.
There is some really good racing going on at the back of this lead pack as well. These guys, they're running 3 wide back there now. Seth Groover's in that outside lane, was trying to make some moves there, but doesn't have any help right now. They 3 wide again now. Now he's got help. He's got a car right smack in front of him that's helping him. Boy, now they're starting to make a move. They've gained 3 rows already just since that second car moved up in front of Seth.
It's like Sebastian has dropped out to the onto the apron. He probably knows more than we do about what's going on up front there.
Yep, that is Peter DeBorgia in the 40 car that was in front. Now, as soon as I say something, he drops back down. Seth is coming up behind another one. Up, he moves back to the center lane now to try to and to the lower lane.
Back up front, the 20. That's the 027 of Steve Korosak. Now up front, he's got the 24 behind him of Everett Lane, and Patrick Groover is up there as well on that low line. Well, before I even announce it, it's all changed. So
it's like they can hear us. That's one of the fun things about trying to broadcast who's in what position at 185 miles an hour. It doesn't take very long to change, and they all are trying to change at once sometimes.
We thank you for watching. For those who are watching us live on YouTube or one of our other channels, we thank you because not only are we reaching people here in the U.S., but around the world. We thank you for tuning in and joining us today, and for watching us here on the IWM Broadcast Network.
We've talked about it a lot tonight, but this is the Jimmy C. Crow Sr. Memorial Race put on by his son Jimmy. Puts on a race every year to just pay tribute to his dad, pay tribute to his father who left us in December of 2018. And this is a great way to remember a man that was very, very much a racer. Loved his real car racing and loved his virtual racing.
We are watching a packed field here at the front. That's the 15 of Jackson Holbrook, who is out front by a nose in front of the 27 of Steve Korosak. We are 3 wide. Oh, wrecking it behind, wrecking it behind.
The 02 and the 5 got together to start that one, and then
so the 83 was
behind them. Yeah.
That's Jackson Carr, I believe, was also involved.
Yeah, a lot of cars got involved in that one.
Okay, we will do our best to sort this out.
Yeah, you can see the 5 and the 02 at the top of your screen are going to get together, and then the 94 has too much momentum and can't get slowed up in time. He comes up, gets into the back of the 5, and then that blue car, I can't read the number, gets
That's the
turned
83 is turned by the lifted, 44. Yep.
Yeah, he lifted, and then the 44 got into the back of him, and then the
yep.
just chaos at that point.
Yep. And at that point, you're just along for the ride because nothing you can do can change the fact that you've got these cars in front of you. Okay, that puts us at lap 73 of our scheduled 200. We've got the entire
all
field.
Coming down pit road, yeah.
Yep. Top 24, 25, pretty much all the field is in. We'll stay with this pit stop.
Yeah, most of these guys fuel only. Some of them are getting 2 tires.
A lot of drama on pit road, as you can see, cars running in and out. The majority are coming down for fuel only. That car speeding down, probably got the wave around.
That is our 6th caution of the night. 74 laps in right now of a 200 lap race, 500 miles. Pit road pretty much emptied out now. Cars back on the track again.
All right, lap 74 is in the books. We are under our 6th caution of the evening. 127 laps to go in the Jimmy Crow Sr. Daytona 500. I believe Steve Korosak will be our control car on this restart.
Daniel, was the 82 involved in that last wreck? Because he was the first car lap down and did not get his lap back.
I don't know if he was involved. I do show him as the first car on the lead lap. On the first car 1 lap down. That may have been David Booth that was getting his lap back. I'm not really sure. Well, the lights are off on top of the pace car. That means only one thing, that we are going back to green flag racing momentarily.
See the top 10 there on the screen. You'll see them changing positions, and you might say, well, hey, under yellow flag, they're not supposed to change positions. And from a technical standpoint, they are not changing positions, but the way this scoring tower works is it's based on electronically whoever is in the lead car. Wherever their car is on the track, that's the position it'll show on the tower. So you'll see cars like Sanchez and Middleton right there switching positions. That's just because one car inches up on another. And as they get close to the green flag, that'll sort itself out, and everybody will be in the right spot when they start.
All right, your top 10 is Korosek, Holbrook, Groover, Reynolds, Workman, Nagel, Sanchez, Middleton, DeBorgia, and Lane. Steve Korosek in the 027 is our control car. As he enters that Geico restart zone, that's up to him when to go. There we go. We are back underway here in Daytona.
Great restart again. I think every restart tonight's been very solid.
Got the 01 of Patrick Groover giving that 027 of Steve Korosek a good push. And outside has, I believe, Zachary Workman. Well, it's all going to change right now as these drivers begin to shake it up on the backstretch.
Look at that outside lane getting such a run there.
That's the 26 of Hunter Reynolds. We've seen Hunter from the very beginning out front. That's the 15 of Jackson Holbrook behind him, and Zachary Workman in the 18. That 5'10 of Richard Sanchez has made his way up to the pack. Now, interesting enough, Patrick Groover, 01, he is up 47 spots. He started back in 50. Jackson Holbrook, he started back. He's up 37 positions. Zach Workman, he's up 26 positions.
Yeah, Patrick Groover used a great combination of excellent driving and excellent strategy to get his way to the front. No stranger to these super speedways. His brother Seth, we've talked about the brother combination a lot, but he's probably about 6 or 7 positions behind him now in that 02 truck, and I think you'll see these guys together before long. Got the 5'10 of Richard Sanchez up towards the front. We've seen this is the first time tonight, I think, that we've seen him this close to the front anyway.
They're coming up to that John Deere vehicle. Let's kind of get the front lead pack made its way past that left car. Hopefully the rest of the field makes its way past cleanly.
You can see the run that outside lane was getting there for a little bit.
You're on board with the number 6 of Cody Nagels.
These drivers have unlimited tires tonight. We talked about that at the beginning of the race. But in spite of that, you won't see them take 4 tires very often. They'll come in. 4 tires takes longer to change than it does to fill your tank with fuel. So what they'll usually do is come in and change left sides on one stop, right sides the next time, because they can do that in the time that it takes to fill that tank with fuel and they don't lose any time on pit road. 3 wide there. Wow, the 5 car going up. Man, they got up to the front fast too. Look at that. Somebody's talking about checking up. There's a wreck back there.
Wrecking behind.
80.
All right.
Yeah, I heard on the radio, I heard a checking up call, and then followed immediately by wrecking. So these guys are talking to each other, but you can see there the 000 got a lot of rear end damage. He probably checked up, and somebody got into the back of him pretty hard. There's the 000 right there on the left side of your screen. The 53 is making a run on him.
So you can see all those flashes
back out of the throttle. Yeah.
Those flashes are telling you that the driver is out of the throttle, and that's raw fuel simulated, obviously, into the exhaust system, which causes that burst of flame out the side. That should be an indicator to that driver behind that driver in front of you is out of the throttle, and to watch something's going on and to back out.
Yeah, that 000 of Rob Connors, I'm not sure why he was out of the throttle so often. It's like he was out, back in, but yet he wasn't super close to the car in front of him. So I'm not sure. He saw something that I can't see right at the moment.
Yep, let's go back. Let's go further up and see what we can see. Find the incident. Gary Jenkins was involved.
He's running in open air all by himself. Looks like he's drawing up quickly.
Okay, so that wreck is certainly ahead of him.
Maybe he heard the checking up call and lifted.
I'm looking for Gary Jenkins.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, at a NASCAR race, their TV crews have somewhere over 100 people on. And here we've got 2, Rick and I. So I'm only talking. Rick's doing the work of 99 people right now.
Bear with us. We'll do our best to get...
That was a good shot, though. That showed the 000.
There we go. There we go.
Here's the cause of it all. That's the 90 truck there.
Car.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing it again, huh? The 90 car.
Let's find that 28. Let's just play it along here. We'll show that the 90.
Gary Jenkins in that 90.
That's correct.
Oh, that red car gets down below. It gets him sideways.
That's the 92.
Yep. There
collects the 8. That's Fitzgerald. 08.
Yep.
Tags the 90. Cuts into the safer barrier. This is 87 of Ray Rittenauer, who masterfully makes it through.
Locked. Oh man. That was a great move there to go high. And then the 92 helped him along by pushing the 90 out of the way. There you see the 9 getting tagged and spinning. The 55 is a little out of sorts.
There's a lot of chaos on the track.
Right there. Look at this.
So Gary Jenkins, Gabe Butler, John Ward, Bob Fitzgerald. Number of drivers were involved in that incident here. Okay.
That shakes things up at the back of the field, too. Jimmy Reynolds, at this moment, is our first lap down car. He's in the 17 car, and that moves Daniel Harrington down a spot. So he's the second lap car. These guys will be having their own race back there in 47th, 48th, 49th position. You've got 3 cars that are a lap down. that all want to be the first car a lap down when that next yellow flag comes out.
So, 7th caution of the night, 118 laps to go, lap 83. Jackson Holbrook in the 15 is our control car. He's got the 5 of Matthew Baker behind him and the 26 of Hunter Reynolds on his outside. Steve Korosek in the 027 is right there on the outside as well. And the 01 of Patrick Groover fills that 3rd slot with Cody Nagels to his outside in the 69 of Jason Middleton. We are about to go back to green. Jackson Holbrook is our control car. Entering the Geico restart zone. And we are off.
Lap 84, and we go green again. It's interesting. You and I had a feeling at the beginning of the race that there might be several yellow flags tonight just because of the car volume, and I think we're seeing that come through. I used to calculate when the first green flag pit stop would be, but the longest green flag run we've had so far is 22 laps, and the fuel run is 40, so I quit counting. That was our 7th caution.
Hunter Reynolds is out front in that low line. He's got a good pusher behind him with Jackson Holbrook. Steve Korosek is taking over the lead in that outside with the 6 of Cody Nagels behind him. We thank you for tuning in to the IWM broadcast network of the Jimmy Crowe Senior Daytona 500, brought to you live. We've had nearly 60 drivers here today competing in this event. There's big money on the line here for an iRacing event. The winner can collect up to $400, and they pay out for those positions all the way back to 10.
A couple cars that have dropped out. The 7 of Dale Willoughby, possibly the 33 of David Bone, and 16 of Jimmy Crowe, the guy that put this race together tonight. If I know Jimmy, he may not be in the car right at the moment, but he's watching. He loves racing, I think, as much as his dad did. That's who this race was named after. In memoriam to Jimmy Crowe Sr. And I'm betting money that Jimmy's watching right now. Jimmy, thank you for all that you do to put these races together. Thank you for your love of racing and the quality that you always bring to the racetrack. You want your races to be caution-free. It's almost impossible to do it with a 60-lap field. But even though we've had 7 cautions so far, these guys are doing a great job, a masterful job of running this racetrack tonight.
We are back to 3-wide racing here at the front with 87 laps in the books. You are seeing this divided into 3 lanes. Oh, contact at the front.
Whoa.
Sends the 27 into the wall. Hard hit.
He's
out of control.
Back. Oh, man.
There was no control there for the 027. Right up into the field.
A couple guys upset with that 027.
Well, I think he was. We'll go back and look and see just what took place there.
Yeah, that's Stephen Korosek.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that's Stevens. Let's go back and
I think the complaint was that he hit that wall and let the car come back up onto the track, but I don't know that he had any say over that.
yeah.
It was so hard that that was a ricochet. You can't control, and even the brakes don't stop a car traveling that fast.
So we're watching here at quarter speed. See the 24 drop down.
Yep.
That
24
is
sends him for a ride.
Everett Lane. He contacts both the 69 of Jason Middleton, and unfortunately the 027 was collected in that, and that's force throws the 027. We're going to foul the 027. He's hard into the wall. Car is in the air. He's on two wheels.
Yeah, he's got his brakes locked up. That's not his fault. Now he's in the grass.
He's trying to control it. He's fully on the brakes, and unfortunately, he's locked it up. You can see those brake and those tire marks. Unfortunately, that's the 60, unfortunately, of Brian Rainville, who absolutely went through the 027.
Yeah, I understand the frustration drivers have when they get taken out in a situation like that. It's very frustrating to be cruising along, no fault of your own. All of a sudden, somebody comes back up the track. But poor guy, Steven didn't have a shot on that one. You could see he was leaving brake marks on the concrete or on the pavement going down into that inside wall. You could see skid marks coming back up, and then once he got into the grass, there's nothing you can do at that point. A lot of cars on pit road right now. And the race off pit road. Sometimes that's as entertaining as the race on the track when you get yellow flag conditions and people are on and off pit road. The whole group is on and off pit road. It's very entertaining to watch them jockey and juggle their car around to try to get position.
So we're doing our best to keep up with the incidents that happen on the track. Sometimes there's multiple instances and incidents, and we're grabbing the one that we see in our relative and bringing that one up to you. But if there was a secondary incident, we apologize if we missed it. So this is our 8th caution. We are almost to the halfway point, 10 laps to go. We thank you for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network.
Yeah, Dale Jr., when he's up in the booth, he has got the advantage of looking out the window and he can see the whole track. We don't have that luxury. We're sitting back here with just our monitors to watch, and we can only see just a portion of the situation at the same time.
All right, so the lights are off on our pace car. Kevin Fries will be our control car. Richard Sanchez will be in charge of the outside line. He's in that 510 yellow Jasper Motorsports engines, or Jasper Motorsports cars to the outside. We've got the 9 behind Kevin Fries. That is a TW Motorsports.
Be lap 92 when we go back to green, almost to the halfway point. And the other thing to remember is these drivers are getting tired. I mean, they have been focused. They're mentally tired now at almost halfway through this race.
Well, there's a lot going on to stay up to speed on what's happening around you. These guys have to have their heads on a swivel. There are still nearly 50 plus cars still involved in this event, and a lot of things happen around you at very high rates of speed.
Coming out of turn 4, getting ready for the restart. Here we go. and we are back to green flag racing. 25 and the 510 leading us through the tri-oval and down towards turn 1 right now.
'25 continues to show us the way. That 510 is on the outside. He's got a bit of help on that outside with the 40 car. That's Pete DeBorgia. They are nose to tail with the 14. The 14 is Vincent Guerrero. Behind them is the 01 of Patrick Groover. A little bit of a gap between that 510. He's moved down in front of the 25 of Kevin Fries.
Yeah, that 40 car of Borgia, that's, I think, the first time that we've seen him this close to the front. Great pit strategy on his part, great driving to be able to get up there at this point in the race.
And now he's in the lead. He is running the lead in that low line. The 14 of Vincent Guerrero is leading that outside line. Patrick Gruber behind him.
Good organization on these two lines. Look at that. Very, very nicely formed up. Taking advantage of that draft. Taking advantage without getting into the back of one another. You'll see a little bump now and then, but guys just being able to run closely, race closely together, and especially at the front of the pack, we've not seen many mistakes up here.
So if you're watching right now, you can see your inside of Kevin Fries' car. You can see that little orange stripe on his steering wheel. That's the centering mark. And you can see as he goes through the corners, it does not take much wheel action to be able to let that car move through. Some is just basically inertia and momentum, but there also is that, caution's back out.
Yeah, guys aren't thrilled with this many cautions in a row. Some of the drivers are getting a little agitated. I didn't even see that on either of my screens, so I'm not sure where that problem occurred. The 000 of Rob Connors thinks it might be him. He's apologizing if it was. Another great example of good sportsmanship. It is so easy to make a mistake out here. It happens to everyone at some point. You always wish it wouldn't, and you try to make that not happen.
Certainly we see something further on up.
Yeah, it looked like they were starting to get squirrely in front. Oh, there's the 02 of Seth Groover.
And the 000 right behind him. Let's see what we can see here.
Yeah, that red car on the left, I think, is a 000.
It is. The 02 is getting a good push with the 027 as they were passing the 000. They did come down.
There he comes.
They came down a little bit into the
net code. I think it was net code. I didn't see any contact there. They were close. Take a close look at it here. Yeah, I don't know if that is so close. I don't think there was physical contact, but I think it was a net code.
Well, so what my partner is saying is that is calling it a net code is basically the simulator is saying that it was inevitable, and so that it wasn't exact contact between those two drivers, but the computer simulation says it was so close it was going to happen. So what has occurred here, the O2 came down a little bit into the line of the 000, and unfortunately they're all together. That collects the O2. the 000 gets involved. Luckily, this is a little bit farther back in the field. And unfortunately, at that point, Seth Groover's got some significant damage. David Watts gets a bit collected in that. He's going to have some right side damage. And we've seen the 777.
Ooh.
That is Sean Hill gets right into the side of the 02.
Yeah, that 777's going to have front end damage now, which is the kiss of death on a super speedway. He will likely, if he has a fast repair left, he well suited to use it right now, because he will not be able to maintain speed with front end damage on a super speedway.
Okay, so the lights are off on our pace car. We will go back to green flag next time by. There are a number of takers on pit road. Gabe Butler, Kenneth McCullough, Joe Delvecchia, Dean Wilkinson, David Sheets. They've all topped off and are making their way around. The 14 car of Vincent Guerrero will be our control car. Cody Nagels will be in charge of that outside line. Let's hope we can go back and stay green for a while.
We were talking a little bit ago about front end damage, and if you think about it, in the real NASCAR world, those crew chiefs will search for millimeters, fractions of an inch, that they can shave or move in certain spots on the car in order to gain speed. So when you get front end damage and all of a sudden your front end is caved in and pushed up 3 inches, it's like driving around with your foot on the brake. It's very easy to lose 15 miles an hour off of the normal pace speed. Even though your engine is still as strong, the rest of your car is straight, if that front end is damaged, it's going to slow you down.
Okay, we're about to go back under green flag momentarily. These competitors are forming back up. We're coming up to the halfway point. We've only got a handful of drivers retired. Green flag. Lap
Good
98.
restart.
Just realizing, looking at that drive-by, that Patrick Groover has got that 76 car. It's got no nose out in front of him, and
boy, that is slowing him down, isn't it?
Has got to be backing up that outside line tremendously. That driver probably should have asked for an EOL, because he cannot seem to maintain race speed.
Yeah, you're going to see Patrick Groover go 3 wide here. He was looking at it earlier, didn't want to do it that close to the turn. Oh, there we go. Now the 76 moves up.
That 76 is Ron Morris Jr.
Yeah, look at him go backwards once he gets out there by himself.
Well, he's basically a snowplow.
Yeah, exactly.
That 28 of Adam Robertson is trying to experiment with that outside line. He ducks back in. The 510 is back there too.
Now we've got some guys towards the back of the field that we're used to seeing run up front. You've got guys like Gabe Butler in the 88. He's back in 37th position. Dean Wilkinson. Gabe is in 37th. Dean Wilkinson's in 38th in the 55 car. You've got Joe Delvecchia in the 052, Steve Korosek in the 027. Seth Gruber now a lap down in the 02 because of that last incident he was involved in. And some of these guys, I think, running at the back to just take it easy. And some of these guys just bad luck. being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I think there's a lot of that, unfortunately. So the 14 of Vincent Guerrero is showing us the lead. He's got the 26 of Hunter Reynolds behind him. Cody Nagel's got that outside line. The 24 moves up. That's Everett Lane to take over that line itself.
That's a great example right there of somebody going from third to first. I think he's going to get there. He was in third position in that bottom lane, or actually probably fourth or fifth because of the outside lane, but he was the third car back and saw an opening with that outside line getting a run, and he jumped up there in front of them, and now they're pushing him up to where he's alongside our leader, and then at other times maybe a car length back. That seems to be the best way to make passes, though, on a super speedway, is you wait for one lane to get momentum, you find an opening, you jump in it, you gain a few spots, and hope you can get back.
There's a lot of cars out of shape coming off that turn. They drop down off the racing surface. Oh, the 14 is off. They're collecting.
Oh, boy.
Big wreck, big wreck.
Yep. Man, that one happened at the front.
This is the big one.
Yep. Oh. Whoa! Somebody flew out of the screen there. iRacing has a flair for the dramatic sometimes.
This is our 10th caution of the night. And this involves nearly everyone.
Yeah, that's tough. When that lead car gets down below that yellow line, any car gets below the yellow line, it's easy to get that car upset. When it's the lead car, it's just magnified many times over because everybody behind them is going to be involved. One of our drivers just came on the radio and said, rule number 1, don't listen to the iRacing spotter. They do have a tendency to be a little late.
Yes.
And they don't tell you when somebody has a run on you. So all you know is you're clear. Clear could be the guy's a foot off your front bumper or off your rear bumper and closing quickly. So by the time you move, then he's there and you wreck. So you've got to be aware of your position. Well, there we see the 14 juke down because he thought that was that 24 or 34 coming down.
24 was about to come down. I think he was not clear. May have caught the nose of the 14. We'll take a peek at that as we're going through this. 24 is coming down. Not clear. Tags him. The 14 gets out of the gas. He gets off on. Now that's banking right there. There's a significant difference in the banking from the racing surface and the apron. It definitely will upset the 14. As you can see, the 26 begins to stack up behind him. He masterfully holds it together. A little bit of damage with the 426, but the 26 also gets some rear end damage. But the wreck is on.
And now everybody behind is along for the ride.
So the 14 tagged the tail of the 6. And unfortunately, as you can see, the carnage begin.
Wow. That is definitely the big one. We've got to easily have 20 cars involved in this.
It's a proverbial parking lot. Okay, so lap 104, 97 laps to go. Bit of a carnage with a major wreck that took out a number of drivers. Now, of course, these guys do have quick repairs. They can come back down and get that work replaced. We've already seen while we were going through that wreck, the majority of the field have come down and got their quick repairs or their damage or got their fuel or their tires. They've come down to get that work done. And what we don't know is how iRacing is going to score this up. So we'll wait to see how this forms back up. As you can see, the lights are off on the pace car. That's the 01. He's getting, I guess, a wave around. And he will be the last car on the lead lap. But he's got to book it to get back around.
Yeah, that is Patrick Groover trying to work his way back up.
So from what we can see, the 40 car of Peter DeBorgia will be our control car. On the outside will be the 14 of Vincent Guerrero. The 24 of Everett Lane will be on the inside lane behind Peter DeBorgia. Got the 66 of John Garrett on the outside. Hunter Reynolds will be back there in 5th. And Cody Nagels will return on the outside. 96 laps to go here in Daytona for the Jimmy Crowe Sr. Daytona 500. I'd love to tell you that it's been boring and we've just watched cars go around and around, but it's been exciting. There's been 10 incidents so far on track, and we're about to go green flag racing.
This is the second time we've seen that 40 car of Peter DeBorgia up front. Good to see him in the lead. Vincent Guerrero, who was our control car last time, is in second spot. Here they go.
An excellent start. Or restart. Guys, nose to tail, the 40, the 24, the 6. 26 rather. On that outside, the 14 is Vincent Guerrero. He's got some help with the 66. That's John Garrett. John's got Cody Nagels behind him, and the 15 of Jackson Holbrook. The 40's got the 24 of Everett Lane, the 26 of Hunter Reynolds, and the 82 is up front. That's Dan Harrington. That's the first time we've called Dan's number tonight. He's got Ray Rittenauer behind him. That's the 87.
I was just looking at the 25 Kevin Freeze. He's unfortunately 3 laps down now. I think he may still be in the pits, but he's league administrator right now and also doing race control for this race while he's driving. And I remember thinking a little while ago he was in the lead, and trying to do race control from the lead is extremely difficult. So good job to Kevin for being able to do that and being willing to do it. That makes your chances of winning a race like this much more difficult because your mind is going in a lot of different directions. But Kevin got caught up in that incident and now finds himself 4 laps down. He must still be on pit road.
Forty continues to show us the way. Peter DeBorgia is out front on that low line. The 14 to his outside, Vincent Guerrero. Both of them have help to move them along. That third lane has not decided to come out.
We've got several trucks out of the race. The 7 of Dale Willoughby, 16 of Jimmy Crowe, the 33 of David Bone, the 10 of Bud Steele, the 4 of Rick Seabrans, Jeff Mark in the 60 truck he's back in again now. And then David Watts in the 54. I'm not sure if he's in the pits still, but he's 18 laps down.
Yep, so I show those cars are retired at this point. So.
Okay. Good deal. Or bad deal for them, unfortunately, but good deal that you were able to clarify that. I still show Peter DeBorgia in the lead in that 40 car. And then that 14 of Vincent Guerrero's in the lead of that outside lane, getting a run right now on the backstretch. Trying to get he's hoping to get up in front of that 40 car, but yeah, that's a tough road to hoe when you're a couple car lengths behind. It needs to get those third, fourth, and fifth cars in that line tucked up a little tighter. And there they just lost 2 to the outside lane.
Yep, a couple of drivers decide to experiment with that outside line. Are joined by a few more. That's Cody Nagels on the outside. Trying to work his way back around. He's got some help with the 5. That's Matthew Baker on the outside. It's going to be hard to get around that 66. That 66 of John Garrett continues to move a bit. So one of the things to remember is that I don't believe this is a fixed setup. Cody Nagels has leveraged that outside line to move out to the front. You're 3 wide at the front here with DeBorgia, the 14 of Guerrero, and Nagels on the outside. 3 solid wide through Daytona.
That is some serious racing right there. Those guys.
That's the 94 of Christian McCullough on the outside. That outside line.
Jimmy Crow. Go ahead.
So that outside line could use a little bit of help. What did you hear Jimmy Crow say?
I just heard him on the radio, so that confirms what I thought, that he may not be in the car right at the moment, but he is still involved in this race, and that's good to see. He told us once or twice on the broadcast of the Tuesday night series that he gets more enjoyment out of putting on a good race than he does of even driving a good race. He just loves to see these guys come in here, show off their talent, have a good time. He really loves clean racing, and sometimes that's possible, sometimes it's not in a super speedway. But one thing that Jimmy always does is put on a good show.
And we're thankful to be able to bring it to you here on the IWM Broadcast Network.
Still 3 wide at the front. These guys making a big run. Now we're in the second half of this race at lap 114 out of 200. They'll start ratcheting it up a notch, and I hope that doesn't mean more cautions, but we'll see. I think these guys will get better as the night goes on. They all get more comfortable. They get used to racing around each other, and sometimes you see the action get cleaner, less cautions until we get down to the end, and then it's everybody's going for the lead.
Three wide continuing. 40, the 24, the 14, the 66, and the 6 and 5 on the outside.
Yeah, that outside lane always loses space on the in the turns because it's so much further around at the top of the track than the bottom, and it's enough that they can lose a car length or so. You can see them dropping back a little bit right there as they enter the turn. And then once they've got momentum, once they come off there they are into the wall.
All right.
Yeah, we saw two cars at the back of that shot get into each other and into the wall. I couldn't see the numbers on them. I think the 78 was one of them. Pace cars rounding up the field in the middle of the backstretch right now as Rick figures out the replay and which cars we're involved in. At the last time the drivers crossed the line, it was the 40 of Peter DeBorgia, the 24 of Everett Lane. Here we go in the replay.
Let's hope we get this correct. We'll just try to some contact with the 02 and the 429.
Yeah. 429 just got loose for some reason and went up into the 02. Oh man, how did that 17 get through there?
Eric Laurie gets involved. McCullough, he's still spinning. Middleton gets involved. That's Hunt. Hunt then collects.
Eric Laurie in the 071 lost his whole front end.
And there's the 78.
78 gets double hit. Oh man, a lot of cars in this one too.
All right, so we got pretty much the majority of the field is now back onto pit lane. They're getting service done. But these incidents do, there's some attrition. We'll get you up to date on what that impact is. We'll see.
Driver's chat, the driver's radio channel, has been momentarily disabled. Usually that means somebody's not talking nice about somebody else.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hard when there is an event like this where you've got some money on the line and you've got a lot of drivers involved. Tempers flare and things happen. So we hope it all works out. Yeah. So we do know from a retired perspective, Dale Wilby, Jimmy Crow Jr., David Bond, Bud Steele, Rick Seabrans, Jeff Merck, David Watts, Brian Rainville, Charles Johnson, and I believe Gary Jenkins have officially retired. Kevin Freese is still in the pits getting service. I'm not sure if he will be able to come back out. We also have a number of other drivers on pit road getting extended service of Rob Connors, Eric Laurie, Jason Middleton, Jimmy Reynolds.
I don't think we're seeing nearly as much fuel strategy of guys pitting and then 2 laps later pitting again to top off, because we've not come close to using a full tank of fuel. So I think that's one strategy we won't see till the very end. You'll see guys starting to back time from the end.
So
always wanting to keep enough gas in the tank to cover the remaining laps in the race.
Well, you'd expect it to make it around. There's 82 laps to go here at Daytona. We thank you for tuning in to the IWM broadcast of the Jimmy Crow Senior Daytona 500. We've got will be 81 laps at the stripe remaining in this contest. We had over 60 drivers enter. We still have 40 drivers still on the track. Number of drivers on pit road making repairs. And only a handful of retirees. Our control cars.
Go ahead.
I'll say our control car is Vincent Guerrero. Again, we're about to go back to green flag racing.
Guys all lined up nice, and here we go, green flag. We seem to get a lot of black flags on the restart, passing under yellow. Guys at the back of the pack, it seems to be either not staying in formation or not getting in the correct formation by the time the restart happens. And when that happens, then the race control, in this case Kevin Freese, has the option, in most cases will usually clear that black flag for them so they don't have to serve that penalty because they received it under no fault of their own.
All right, the 26 of Hunter Reynolds has made his way back up front. He's leading that low line. That 24 is right there. That's Everett Lane on the outside in front of Coney Nagels. That 14 is kind of cycled back. Vincent Guerrero has kind of dropped back a bit, now sitting in 4th spot. Everett Lane continues to show us the way. Nagels in 2nd, Ryan Reynolds in 3rd, McCullough and Guerrero keep swapping spots. Same thing with Workman in the 18 and Garrett in the 66. Holbrook is there, Overstreet is there, and Sanchez is back in the top 10.
I'm watching the front of the pack on one screen and the back of the pack on another, and there's some good solid racing going on back here too. And some of these guys are starting to lose the draft, but others are just, I think, playing it safe back here, staying far enough off the car in front of them that they don't lose the draft, but yet they're not right on top of someone. And if they need to, they can get on the brakes pretty quickly and have a little bit of margin for error.
Well, at lap 122, they need to be thinking about strategy as to how to work their way back up to the front. Those are outside the top 10. Richard Sanchez, Robert Richards, Matthew Baker, Joe Della Vecchia, Steve Korosek has made his way back up just outside that top 10. They're figuring out how do they get back up and stay relevant. Still plenty of
the.
I was going to say there's still plenty of racing left. Only with 78, 77 laps to go.
Look back at the middle of the pack now, and there's still some good racing going on back here, but not nearly as intense as it is up front. These guys have spaced themselves out a little bit. They're right behind that lead pack, so staying in touch with the lead pack, but yet not being bumper to bumper themselves. They're separated by a couple car lengths each, and like every driver, just kind of holding their own, staying close enough that they can move up when they need to, but giving themselves room to maneuver in case of an accident in front of them. A lot of these guys have now used all 3 of their quick repairs or fast repairs, and they want to stay safe. They want to be able to be there at the end of the race, and that's one of the first rules of racing. In order to win the race, you have to be there at the end. You can't be so aggressive on the front end that you're not around to finish the race.
Oh, wrecking!
Hodgson is out. Lap 125. You saw that one there on the stream, but it was interesting because the yellow flag was out before that contact, so I think it must have been caused by something else.
I pause this, try to find Mark Mann and see if he can show us, because he definitely was off the track. Let's see what we can see from this position.
Mark Mann's in 04.
Oh no, it's happened well above Mark.
Yeah, somebody down on the apron. There it is. Oh, yeah, he's around already. Boy, that was like the third, fourth row, it looked like.
So
Fourth
I'm
row.
watching the 510 of Richard Sanchez. I think that he got caught up in this. Let's see if we can spot that 510 car. So again, the 15 drops on the apron. That is that. So
yeah,
that's
he comes up.
Yeah, that is the kiss of death. At this speed, at the start-finish line, there's some significant banking, and when you do that, it will unsettle the car. Watch the 15 of Jackson Holbrook here. He's going to pop up and tag the 77, I think, of David Booth, and he's got the 46 as well. He may collect both of them.
Yep, he does. Makes contact with both.
Hooks the 46 around. Unfortunately, he's got nowhere to go.
Ooh.
510 goes for a wild ride.
Big ride.
As does the rest of the field. Now, what's significant here is that a lot of these guys who are in the back of the field have been in other incidents tonight, and they may or may not have repairs that they can fix. Well, they could wait for the repair to be made, but unfortunately not the quick repairs that are available to them.
That is so true, Rick. One thing I noticed on that yellow flag, I went back and looked, and the majority of our cautions tonight were caused by somebody dropping below the yellow line. And the majority of our cautions tonight were near the back of the field. So it's sometimes the best strategy is not to ride around at the back and wait till the end. Tonight would be one of those nights.
Tonight would be one of those nights. Unfortunately, it has certainly collected a number of drivers tonight.
And I can pretty much guarantee you that nobody is going below that yellow line on purpose. But sometimes it happens, and if you're not guarding against it, it's very easy for it to happen. And boy, if it happens in the corner, you're in big trouble at that point, because like you mentioned earlier, the difference in banking between the corners and the flat apron is huge, and there is no way at speed that you can control that car when it gets upset down there.
Well, I've got a new name up front. This is John Garrett in that 66 Fort Worth screen printing car. He will be our control car on the restart. You got Joe Delvecchia up there, Adam Robertson, Hunter Reynolds still up in the top 10. Vincent Guerrero is still up there. Sebastian Marin is sitting in 7th. Everett Lane, Zachary Workman, Cody Nagels. A lot of familiar names for tonight, but certainly there's lots of racing to go. 73 laps left. This is our 12th caution of the evening.
Did you happen to notice if the 69 car of Jason Middleton was involved in that last accident? I showed him the only car a lap down prior to the yellow, and still shows him a lap down.
I don't show his name in the list of those involved, but you just never know with iRacing.
Yeah.
All right, field is beginning to put itself back together here as we're about to go back to green flag racing. John Garrett will be our control car. Joe Del Vecchia should be in the 052 on that outside.
Cars just coming off pit road as these guys ready to take the green.
Green flag back at Daytona. 72 laps to go, and John Garrett leads them down.
This is going to be an interesting merger coming here because these guys are going to be on that backstretch at a much faster rate of speed than the guys that are just coming onto the track right now, about the middle of the backstretch. They catch them, and they're able to get up on the racing surface, but they are going to be caught quickly by this pack coming at them at about 10 mile an hour faster.
They may have made their way around, Jeff. I don't see them on the relative or on the track map.
Yeah, I don't see them on the track map. That's interesting. Oh, whole group coming into the pits now. Yeah, I'm trying to sort it out on my screens.
Yeah, I don't see anybody into the pits at this point, Jeff, just those that were on there making repairs at this point. I did see one car, that's Ron Morris Jr., who chose to dive off into the pits. Other than that, the cars on there are working on their vehicles from previous incidents.
Somehow my iRacing got way behind. Probably operator error.
Well, we're back, we're live, and we're continuing here. Hunter Reynolds is now showing us the way. The 01 of Patrick Groover continues to nose out and look at that third way around to find some way to pick up some spots. But the 26 shows us the way. He's not the high line, he's not the low line, he's danced between the two. Right now he's on that high line with the 40 of Pete DeBorgia behind him. The 66 of John Garrett gets a great run and a great push by that 28. 28 is Adam Robertson. Adam's got the 14 behind him. That's Vincent Guerrero. And the 23 of Sebastian Marin also on that low line.
Well, this operator discovered the error of his ways and got his iRacing synced back up again.
All right.
It's amazing what can happen when you click the wrong little button on your screen. Lap 132 of 200. Hoping we can get a lot of green laps in now and enjoy some of this fine quality racing we've seen. Third lane there starting to form back up again. I'm going to guess, I can't see the number, but I'm just going to guess that's the 01 of Patrick Groover.
You are correct. He's outside of the number 6 of Cody Nagels. He's got the 24 of Everett Lane in front of Cody, and then, he's just trying to find a way to make that outside line work. He doesn't have any takers right now because, frankly, you've got to be, I think, a bit more conservative. If you've had damage and gotten repairs, you may not have the amount of repairs left. You want to be holding one in your back pocket if you've got it. Or if you don't have it, you're not looking to get in any trouble. And that third lane is definitely high risk, but certainly high reward if you can make it work.
That is so true. In the normal series that these guys drive in weekly, but we have seen usually they have 2 quick repairs, sometimes 1, and they're shorter races. So it was very nice with the race organizers. Jimmy Crow, Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler, they elected to go with 3 fast repairs in this race. Seemingly knowingly, they would, here we go, caution 134. They figured there would be some cautions and more cautions than normal, and so they gave the guys an extra quick repair for that.
Well, I think that was that caution was brought up by the Sean Stevens in the 45 and the 27. Let's go back and see that from the far chase here. Let's back that up a little bit. So a number of these guys, you can see their cars. They have been in a number of incidents throughout the day, and they're just trying to make it around.
Oh, wow, that was strange. That yellow car, I couldn't catch the number, but
That's the 45.
45. I didn't see anything. I didn't see contact, but maybe there was.
So behind him
that's
is
a better angle.
Is the 15 there, and you can see the amount of damage not related to this incident that these guys are carrying.
No, they've already got rear end damage, both
That's
of them.
Holbrook involved there. Taps the left rear corner, hooks him around. Unfortunately, that also the 77 tries to avoid the incident. The 27 of Stevens is right there. Unfortunately, I think he's going to try to get around it, but
he hit the brakes instead of the gas.
Yeah, he got collected.
Yeah, I think your natural instinct is you see a car coming up on you, you want to slow down. But I think in that case, if he'd hit the gas, he might have made it, maybe not. But boy, that's a split-second decision, and you just got to go with your gut.
So lap 36, we've got a number of drivers currently on pit road.
Just heard Kip Freeze come on the radio to give the score of the Cincinnati Bengals game. The Bengals are up. So for you Bengals fans that are listening today, maybe missing the race or maybe watching both.
Because you can do that.
Yep.
All right. Lap 136.
I'm guessing the lights on the pace car will go out when they cross the start finish, which would put us going green on lap 138. You mentioned before this is our 12th caution of the night. I will make a note here that I usually on my notepad I double space when I'm listing the number of cautions. Tonight I just decided to single space it, and I'm really glad I did because I'm over halfway through my yellow pad right now. Unfortunately, a lot of cautions tonight, but still some absolutely exciting racing. We're seeing some cautions, and it seems like a lot, but I've seen shorter NASCAR races with more cautions than this. I think we'll have a few more before we're done, but I think we'll. At that time, we went 9 laps without a caution. Before that, we went 9 laps without a caution. Before that, we went 22 laps. So that's twice tonight. We've had 22 lap green runs, which is pretty good.
Well, the lights are off on the pace car. We'll be getting back to green flag racing. And interestingly enough, the 14 of Vincent Guerrero is our control car, and he's got the 23 of Sebastian Marin on his outside.
That is a good combination right there. Vincent Guerrero's been up in the front the last half of this race that we've seen so far. Sebastian Marin's always running at the front, has shown himself to be a great pusher, and I think these two are going to get a jump on it here.
All right, lap 137 is in the books. Thank you for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network. We appreciate whatever stream
Sebastian Marin's on the outside now. I'm sorry, I heard you wrong. Cody Nagels is behind Vincent Guerrero.
Yes, Sebastian's leading that outside line. No worries.
Yep. Yeah, I still think that's going to make a difference in that outside line. You've got somebody that knows how to lead a line, but Cody Nagels is no slouch either. He'll be able to do a good job pushing Guerrero.
You've got Paul Witt as well in the 429. So again, I was saying thank you for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network. We're about to go back to green flag racing. Vincent Guerrero is our control car, and we are back to green.
good start. Those 6 cars out front got a good jump, and the next group's not far behind them.
You are seeing more cars with damage. We're seeing some more wrecked cars out there. Not completely wrecked, but they're showing some signs of damage. You can see the 027 right there with a little bit of right rear end damage. Don't think that will affect his run.
Just heard Todd Siebels in the 45 tell the drivers behind him to go ahead and go around him, but he's got damage. So these guys are talking. If they can't keep the pace, they're courteous. They don't try to spoil other people's day. They want to see good, clean racing as much as we do.
So Todd Siebels is the last official car on the lead lap. You know, while he may have some damage, he is still making race pace at over 190 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's the nice thing. If you have a little bit of front end damage and you can get tucked in behind someone, you can still keep your speed pretty much, because that car in front of you is deflecting the air around you. And the speeds that these cars can achieve on a track like Daytona is all built on the air, of how the air flows around the car. So if you have a weak spot in your car, such as on the front end, and you can get the air deflected around that, then that damage doesn't have near the impact that it might have if you were leading a line.
That's lap 140 in the books, folks. 61 laps to go here.
Yeah, Sebastian Marin's still staying out front in that outside lane. Guys trying to go 3 wide there in the back of that pack. If they could get guys to go 3 wide in the back of the pack, you could get 2 or 3 cars. They could make their way to the front and give these guys a run for their money and advance their position quite handily. Look at the front of that 14 car there. You could see all the rubber that had attached itself to the hood of that car. The rubber that comes off these tires sometimes gets flown up in the air and lands. That car in front of you through the turn is scraping off little chunks of rubber, and really dots the front end of these cars.
We've got third line beginning to come up. I know the 5 is involved. That's Matthew Baker looking for some help. We saw Seth Groover or Patrick Groover. See who's back there. That's the 01. That's to be Patrick. Nose out a little bit. Good racing so far. There's still one driver on that outside. Looks like he's getting a little bit of help.
Joined by somebody else now. I've got 2 cars out there.
That's the 24 and the 40.
Yeah, that'll help those guys get their way up to the front. '24 is Everett Lane, and the 40 of Pete DeBorgia. Pete was our leader a couple cautions ago. Got back in the pack a little ways, but obviously knows how to get his way to the front.
We're 3 wide solidly here. The 01 of Patrick Groover has nosed out, now back in. The 510, that's Richard Sanchez, who's out on the outside. That 40 is Pete DeBorgia. We saw him up front again, as you mentioned. He's now on that outside line. 510 taking advantage of that. The 01 is still biding his time. He decided not to move up.
When you get to racing 3 wide like this, that middle lane is so disconcerting, because you've got cars on either side of you that are moving around, and your car's moving around. And it takes some exceptional skill to be able to keep your car. You see how much those cars are moving in that shot. It takes some skill to be able to keep your cars separated, because you don't know what the car on either side of you is going to do. You're just trying to control your car, keep an eye on both of them. And boy, it keeps a driver's mind and vision really, really busy.
We're taking an inside view inside Steve Korosik, 027. Steve is down on that low line.
Whoa, guys darting around up there in front of him.
Watson wrecking behind, wrecking behind.
Man, that was a great shot, though, of Steve's ride, because you could see when he went below that yellow line how much he had to seesaw that steering wheel back and forth. It looked like they say he was cutting wood. His arms were moving so fast that to keep that car under control. And he did a really good job. Unfortunately, some of the guys in front of him weren't quite so lucky.
Well, you can see there's a little bit of banging and dooring up with the 24 and the 23 of Sebastian Marin up front. So it's like the 40 may have got into the rear end of the 24 with a push. That caused him to
Sebastian
drops tags at 23, who also doors the 24. Now, what that's got is everybody behind them is checking up. All those flashes are happening. And unfortunately, not everybody gets the memo. And someone's going to...
This is a beautiful angle to show what you're talking about.
So that's the 82 that turns up. Let's try to get it a better shot on the 82. That's Dan Harrington here. And unfortunately...
Another airborne helicopter ride. Two of them.
just complete...
46 upside down.
Yep. So what happened as a relatively small incident at the front, and then everybody lifting towards the middle and back of the field, caused tremendous chaos amongst the ranks.
Man, those are so tough. And the interesting thing was the guys that started it all were able to save it. They all saved their cars at the front of the pack, but it was the guys behind them that get caught in that, I don't know what you would call it, but that domino effect where cars start slowing up and then they're running into each other nose to tail. And it's sad when you see things happen like that, guys that are driving along minding their own business and all of a sudden they're caught up in it. But boy, that's the nature of super speedway racing, and that's why some drivers love it, some hate it. I remember Mark Martin talking a lot about how he hated super speedway racing, just hated it. He was good at it, but he hated it.
Well, I mean, you're a victim of circumstance.
Absolutely, so many things out of your control. So, and race car drivers want to be in control. Doesn't matter if it's real life or simulation. They want to be in control. They want to control their destiny. They want to control their car. And I totally understand it. That's the way you have to be successful.
Well, the 77 is going to get a wave around, I think. The lights are not off yet on the pace car. So we'll see some official information as to who's on top. I'm guessing that the 24 of Everett Lane will be our car in the lead position. We'll just see how it all plays out.
Yeah, on my screen, I see that 77 of David Booth already on the lead lap, so maybe he got a... Oh,
I'm sorry. This is a 777 of Sean Hill.
Oh, okay.
He just got the wave around.
Yeah, Sean is 3 laps down, so that'll help his position, but he won't gain any spots. He'll just be 1 lap closer.
So once we get a better feel when these cars come out of pit road, we'll see where they wind up on the track. We'll get you a better count as to how many are on.
Oh, the lights are still off on the pace car, so looks like they're getting ready to go green. I see on my track map, it looks like everybody's caught up to the pack.
Okay, if that's the case, we've got 31 entries that are currently on the lead lap. Last car is the 31 of David Sheets. And we've got a number of drivers who are more than 1 lap or 1 lap down. Well, it's our 14th caution of the night, 53 laps to go once we cross the stripe. We're getting to the point now where you've got pretty much one more stop, if this stays green, to end this event here at the Jimmy Crowe Senior Daytona 500.
Yeah, that's right. With we have now 53 laps to go. Fuel window of 40 laps, so now you'll start seeing some fuel strategy taking place. Guys at the front, once we get to what they feel is a safe margin, which is probably about 35, 36 laps to go.
We are back to green flag racing.
When they fill up in that 35, 36 to go, they'll have enough to make it to the end.
Everett Lane continues to lead us around. He was the control car. He stays in that first place position. The 14 of Vincent Guerrero behind him. The outside is the 40. That is Peter DeBorgia on the outside. He's got the 027 of Steve Korosek. Sebastian Marin is the 23 behind him. And the 95 of James Mayer has made it up to the front of the pack.
Yeah, DeBorgia out in the lead now in that outside lane, although the inside lane got a run coming through that turn. Coming up to the tri-oval right here.
So Lane, DeBorgia, Guerrero, Korosek, Marin, Reynolds, Rittenauer, Mayer, Mann, and Workman. That is your top 10 here at lap 149. 3/4 of the way through. We're not done yet, folks.
I wish we had a little window that showed us how many fast repairs each driver has used. That would be an interesting statistic to know, and you could kind of see what guys' strategies are at that point.
Sure, yeah, I don't think iRacing pushes that out, or what set of tires they're on. That's all just not available to us.
I have been amazed at the racers from this group that we've covered in the past in the Tuesday Night Truck Series that's on the IWM Broadcasting Network. These guys know what their competitors are doing. They know in the middle of a race, they've got their own strategy in mind, but they're also thinking about what their competitors are doing. They know when they pitted last. Sometimes even know if they took tires. So it's always fascinating to me how they can keep all that in their mind. At
24 gets spun.
24 hard into the wall.
Does not bring out the yellow flag.
Wow.
Unfortunately, that is going to impact his day.
Yeah, that's Everett Lane.
Let's go back and see what happened with Everett Lane. So they're coming off of turn 4. He's got the 14 behind him. Like the 14 gives him a tap in the left rear. And unfortunately, that's all it took to set him on a course into that inside safer barrier, and that just trashes that car. Hopefully he's got a fast repair. He can get around the
Fortunately, it's a single car incident. But they
the unfortunate part is that they didn't stop. So he's going to get into pit road. He's going to execute that repair. He is in now.
Yeah, that 14 of Vincent Guerrero, they were talking on the radio, and he said that he lifted, but he felt like Everett Lane lifted prior to that, because he said, I wasn't gaining on him, and then all of a sudden I had to lift, and I was still close enough to tap him. Well,
mistakes happen, things happen. That's just the nature of racing, whether it's simulation or out on the track.
Yep.
Everett Lane is back off. He chose to fill up his fuel and get tires and get the repair done. So he's back out on the track. I don't know if he had a fast repair, so I'm not really sure if he's. We'll see.
Kevin Freeze, the race administrator, on the radio, telling the drivers to keep the radio chatter as positive as they can, not to be calling out other drivers. And I appreciate the fact that they want to keep this clean, keep it. There's wives and kids and grandparents watching, and they want to keep it, entertaining for them and not turn into a gripe session. And these drivers all do a pretty good job of not doing that. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, somebody will say something that maybe they shouldn't have, but I like the fact that the administrators keep it clean and watch over it, and the drivers do their best to do the same.
Well, and we do our part here because we do not broadcast the drivers' audio channels.
Every now and then you would have to be using the beeper, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's quite possible. Well, 46 laps to go, 155 in the books. Pete DeBorgia in that 40 is showing us the way. Vincent Guerrero back there in second. That outside lane's got the 027 of Steve Korosek and the 23 of Sebastian Marin. He got a good push by the 23 of Marin. Cody Nagels is back there. Ray Rittenauer is in that low line. He's got the 26 of Hunter Reynolds in front of him, and Hunter has got the 95. That's the 95 is James Mayer right there in front of him as well. Interesting that 04 has made its way up there. That 04 is Mark Mann. He was involved in those earlier incidents. That's a great example how you can see that, yes, you could have been involved in an earlier incident, but you don't give up. You persevere, and, Mark Mann is now sitting in 10th slot.
Yeah, that's a great example of that. We've got 29 cars on the lead lap, and I'm going to guess that we've got 32 cars that are running on the track right now, just by watching the number of laps down tick away.
That is correct.
Okay, I think David Sheets is the first car in the pits. He's 8 laps down. And so we've got quite a few. If we've got 32 cars on the lead lap, that means we've got 24 cars that are either out or under extended repair at this point. That is quite a bit of attrition, but it's to be expected. This is a very, very difficult type of racing, and it's unique in and of itself. You can have road courses or oval courses that are difficult, but similar to many others. You race road courses in a similar fashion, no matter if it's Coda or Watkins Glen or whatever. The same thing with short tracks or your mile and a half cookie cutter tracks. You race them all similar, not exactly the same, but there's a pattern and a style. And super speedways are unique to themselves. You've got Daytona, Talladega, and now the new Atlanta races like a super speedway, even though it's only a mile and a half. But it's a different animal, and you have to race this style of racing a lot to get good at it. And I'm telling you, the drivers in this race are good at it.
Peter DeBorgia continues to show us the way. Vincent Guerrero, Steve Korosek, James Mayer, Sebastian Marin, Cody Nagels, Hunter Reynolds, John Ward, Ray Rittenauer, and Mark Mann. That's your top 10. Patrick Groover is right outside in the 11th slot.
Well, we're on a good green flag run right at the moment, and I, for one, hope we continue that because I am missing my oldest grandson's birthday party right at the moment. So
Oh my gosh.
I'd love these guys to go green the rest of the way. That's totally selfish. I know it. Call me out. But,
No, it's all good. The 92 was jumped in that outside lane. He's fading back. That 92 is John Ward. He's running up.
Tucked in here. Yep. Oh, yeah. He'll tuck into that. Oh, now he disappeared off my screen.
Nope, he's right there.
Okay.
Yep, he just dropped back to the end of the outside line.
I was looking at the iRacing screen, and he disappeared off my, just blinked out for a second, which happens when we get to the bottom of the screen. So then I never saw him reappear.
So you do have Pete DeBorgia jumping in to the pits. This is certainly a strategy here.
They are just within a fuel window now to go the rest of the way. If they don't encounter a green-white checker or don't get a lot of cautions between now and the end.
Well, that was a strategy that that Peter gambled on. Peter DeBorgia in the 40, he went in without any help. Now, if you're familiar with super speedway racing, here's the rest. Whoa, we're going to keep an eye on this.
Wow, they're all coming now. He once he did it, the rest of them have to commit, or he's got a perceived advantage at that point.
Number of drivers now on pit road. Holbrook tagged the inside wall. Hunter Reynolds will lead them off. Yep. And now they're all coming out in a pack. That's Hunter Reynolds, the 95 is there of James Mayer, the 18 of Zachary Workman. They can get back on. They'll get up to speed relatively quickly. The second half of that group is now coming down pit road. Sebastian Mayer, Steve Korosek, Cody Nagels, Joe Del Vecchia, Thomas Holder, Paul Witt, and Vincent Guerrero.
One thing we haven't talked about much on this broadcast is the team aspect. We have multiple teams that are working together here. You got Dale's Cup, which has about 8 drivers on it. Checkered Flag's got 2 drivers. Bootnaka's has 7 drivers. Alliance Motorsports, they've got 7 drivers. And these drivers are all communicating with each other on a separate channel in Discord. So they're all talking to each other that the rest of the drivers can't hear them. So they're talking among their team about when they're pitting, when they're not, what they're going to do, what their strategy is, how they're changing. And they're committed to not only try to win this race themselves, but if they can't do it, to see that a teammate wins. So a lot of strategy within the strategy going on here. And that's what you're seeing take place on this pit stop.
So we're watching the Groover brothers both come in with John Garrett. For those of you that may recognize that name and not know where that's from, John Garrett is actually a full-time ARCA driver who is out here today racing in this event. John Garrett is driving that 66 Fort Worth screen printing car you see right there.
That's good to see.
Wrecking in front of them, or at least it was close. There's some drivers that were off. He's coming back up on the track, trying to get a beat on who that is.
That was an incredible save to be able to come back up on the truck like that, or track like that, and blend right in. That is very difficult. We were just talking about John Garrett, excuse me. He just came on the radio and said, "Wow, that was fun to watch."
Yeah, well, he had a bird's eye view. It happened right in front of him.
He did.
So
it was Christopher McCullough that went off the track. He just came on and said, "I don't know how the heck I saved that one," but he was pretty thankful that he could, and we're thankful too because we're still running green. Still have some good solid racing to watch.
All right, 36 laps to go. It's coming down to the end of this event here at the Jimmy Crowe Sr. Daytona 500. Looks like from our records, everybody has made it in and out of pit road. That means they've got enough fuel, tires, and now it's all down to end of race strategy, and we are 3 wide at the front.
Yeah, most of the cars pitted there in that lap 161, 162 range, which technically puts them in reach of the end of the race. The only thing that would make that difficult is if we get a couple green-white checkers at the end. That would make it close for some of them. But this is exciting to see the strategy start to really show up now. You're going to see teammates sticking even closer together, and you're going to see the way that these drivers can work together and work against one another to try to gain an advantage for themselves.
Just a few laps remaining here in this event. Hunter Reynolds is in the low line. He leads that line. Zachary Workman is on the outside. The 95 of James Mayer behind the 26 of Hunter Reynolds. Mark Mann in the 04 is back there as well. That third line again. Oh, there was contact.
A lot of movement there.
That's the 01 of Groover in the back there.
Yeah, Patrick Groover looked like he wanted to try a third lane, and I'm not sure what transpired there, but that did not work.
Oh, contact!
There he goes again.
No, not him. The 00 came
the
down,
car in front of him,
took
went
him
up
out.
high to the third lane, and then came back down. And yeah, I don't think that one was on Patrick Groover.
That definitely brings out the caution. I think that was Thomas Holder. I could be wrong. That is Thomas Holder. Thomas was a lap car.
That's a great angle right there.
So, you know, with the aerodynamics being what they are, these cars do tend to sway. They're coming off a corner. There's a little bit of movement here. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of room. It looks like he's got an opportunity to move down, but the 01 has a run. And unfortunately, he hooks him into the 40. That 40 is something we've talked about a lot today. That's DeBorgia. 00 goes around, also collects the 52. 52 is Della Vecchia. The 429 of Paul Witt. The 88 makes it by. The 03 of McCullough gets through somewhat, a little bit of contact. Unfortunately, the 66 gets a nose full of the 00, and the rest of them just kind of spin through. Hopefully that we'll have enough of a repair. They can come back in and get their work done, but we have another caution. This brings out our 13th caution. 15th. I'm sorry, I've lost.
15th.
I've lost 2.
12, 14. That's right, 15th. The 00 of Thomas Holder and that 01 of Patrick Groover. That wasn't. I couldn't place fault on either driver on that. That's what they call in technical terms a racing deal. 2 cars going for the same piece of real estate, and just it's the way it works out. You said it best, Rick, that Thomas Holder tried to come down and thought he was clear because his spotter told him he was clear, and then Patrick